各位觀眾大家好，歡迎收睇26分鐘見證實錄。喺新冠肺炎疫情爆發一開始，位於溫哥華嘅好多商家都陸續暫停營業。而為咗防止不法分子入去爆竊，商家們都紛紛將店鋪嘅門前封上木板，整個商業區都陷入前所未有嘅冷清。但係喺4月中，由溫哥華壁畫節聯合本地多個商業促進會共同發起嘅一個項目，就邀請咗超過40位藝術家喺呢啲嘅商鋪嘅木板上面繪製壁畫，希望向整個社區傳遞信心同鼓勵嘅同時，支持以及感謝奮戰喺前線嘅醫護人員。呢啲壁畫嘅創作背後係有住點樣嘅故事呢？而今次嘅經歷，為呢啲嘅藝術家又帶嚟咗點樣嘅體驗呢？新冠肺炎疫情期間，一幅幅出現喺溫哥華市暫停營業嘅商店木板外面嘅壁畫，形成咗一道亮麗嘅城市風景線。一班藝術家紛紛用自己嘅創作向公眾傳達正面嘅信息。
I hope that kind of gives people some hope if they're feeling kind of isolated and it's not necessarily a bad thing to be isolated because you can kind of like work on yourself.
The world's a dark place, spring still comes, you know, so I wanted to bring that into my art. Is that the fact that you can't stop spring.
而公眾嘅喜愛亦都同樣鼓舞住藝術家本身。
And a lot of people saying thank you and that they're just really grateful for all of the art that's going up in the neighborhood. So that's really encouraging as well when you're trying to do something for the community and they're responding in such a positive way.
I'm very grateful like I would be a part of it and I got to paint and people are very positive and happy.
喺呢一個艱難嘅疫情時期，藝術作品嘅精神力量為整個社區帶嚟咗驚喜。
The name of my mural is Bloom Inward, which is like also the text that I painted on one of the walls.
呢一幅位於烤街一間商店木板上嘅壁畫作品，係由本地藝術家 Priscilla 於創作完成。Priscilla 話：希望佢嘅文字同埋繪畫能夠為大家帶嚟希望。
This wall over here is a little bit like a mental space, so it's like maybe like something that it's like a visual representation of maybe someone's mind. And then this text kind of corresponds with that. In the silent spaces of solitude, your strength is revealed. So I hope that kind of gives people some hope if they're feeling kind of isolated. And it's not necessarily a bad thing to be isolated because you can kind of like work on yourself. And I think that it's really valuable to do that.
而佢嘅創作靈感就係嚟自疫情爆發初期，獨自喺家中隔離生活嘅一段經歷。
I live in a really small space in Vancouver, and I was having like kind of like trouble like just not like just being unmotivated for a while, and it was kind of hard to like get grounded. And I found that like every day like I was kind of like just living, like watching my thoughts and just like going through it, and then suddenly it would feel like really just isolating. And so I just decided to do a little bit of writing when I was preparing for the mural. And I don't know, the idea of like spending time alone in isolation and like, you know, seeing everything that's in your mind, one channel, you can't change it. I guess that was kind of the inspiration for the 4 walls. I wanted to have like a wall of text and then an image next to it that kind of represented the text, and then that's kind of what happened with the 4 walls here.
呢一次亦都係佢第一次喺壁畫作品之中運用自己嘅文字。
Felt like a little bit vulnerable in doing it for the first time, but in the end of it, it was like it feels really good to be able to share my own words. Where everyone can see it, and like I've had a lot of conversations with people walking by that told me that they connected with it, and like just a lot of people thanking me, which is like really nice.
Priscilla 話：今次嘅主辦機構並未有過多嘅限制佢嘅創作諗法， 而佢就用咗7日嘅時間，獨立完成咗呢一幅作品。佢表示非常高興能夠參與該個項目，獲得咗咁唔同嘅體驗。
There's like so many good things about this project. Like first of all, working with the Mural Festival, they're a really great team. I love working with them. Second of all, like I was like really wanting to do something like this, and so the right opportunity, like this opportunity, came at the right time. Painting outdoors, like in a silent corner of the downtown, is pretty like uncommon. Normally, it's not that busy during this COVID time, and so it kind of felt like having my own little like studio, and then people would kind of walk by and we're able to have kind of like a socially distanced kind of like conversation that, you know, I was like talking to people like who are from totally different cultures and neighborhoods in Vancouver that I wouldn't normally talk to, which was really nice.
除咗壁畫創作之外 ，Priscilla 亦被一個今年4月喺中國上海舉行嘅藝術展邀請設計一款口罩圖案。遺憾嘅係佢嘅上海之行因為疫情而被迫取消。不過 Priscilla 話就好似呢一幅壁畫作品想要傳遞嘅信息，感謝呢一段經歷，令佢成為咗一個更加強大嘅自己。
I want for anybody who feels alone during COVID or in general to remember that it's sometimes a positive experience to work through what's surfacing in your mind when you're alone. And in some ways, like, it kind of helps you, like, I don't know, for me, in my experience, it kind of helps, like, develop a more stronger self. At the end of the day, like I've been saying to a lot of different people, like at the end of the day, it's like no matter what, you always have you, and that's like, it's awesome. Like you're a pretty good time.
本地藝術家 Megan McGrath 嘅壁畫作品，當時位於 Burra 街上一間喺疫情期間暫停營業嘅戶外用品店外面。朵朵綻放嘅櫻花吸引咗唔少路人駐足。Meg 話：呢一幅作品嘅文字部分其實係嚟自商家嘅提議。
The name, I would just call it Together for What's to Come. It's just titled as it is because I worked with architects to come up with what they wanted to say. So yeah, I think it's important to put something that's going to uplift people at this time. So a lot of the artists, they had free range to do whatever they wanted. Architects just asked me to work with them to come up with some words that would kind of align with their brand, which I'm totally fine with because that's what I do in my design practice anyways. And I mean, they have a great message and I love their brand, so it was really easy for me to do.
而佢就希望櫻花能夠為整座城市帶嚟春天嘅氣息。
I mean, I love spring because it's like it's a reminder that life always renews itself, even in the midst of chaos and so much going on, and the world's a dark place, spring still comes, you know? So I wanted to bring that into my art, is that the fact that you can't stop spring. For me, a big part of my practice has always been color. So just bringing in color to uplift and inspire and colors that you wouldn't normally see together or you know, you're expecting a cherry blossom to be pink, but it's a different color, and just that I think that's my inspiration for this whole thing is just how to uplift through color, how to uplift through poetry, and how to uplift through words.
佢認為參與今次嘅壁畫項目係用藝術回歸社會嘅一種方式。
I think everyone at this time wants to give back in a way that they can, and I think it's the responsibility of artists to bring their own beauty into the world, especially when there's a time when everything's dark and uncertain, and everyone's experienced a range of emotions. And so I think it's the role of the artist to create poetry and to create color and bring that into the world. And I think that was my motivation, was like, this is a way that I can give back. You know, I can't be in the hospitals, I can't do that kind of thing. So what can I do? I can uplift people. And I think that's what makes this an amazing project, is that, you know, when times when looks so apocalyptic, to have these boards up and everyone's so shocked by the way it looks. It's like, how do we make that beautiful? So I really love that part about this project.
Meg 話：疫情啱啱爆發嘅時候，由於佢嘅多個項目都係為餐廳或者係酒店創作裝飾藝術，所有嘅工作就只能夠被迫取消。 不過隨之而嚟嘅一啲私人工作機會，以及今次嘅壁畫項目，就令佢嘅事業出現咗轉機。
I've been creating paintings, and I had a commission by a friend of mine who asked for some of his words to be painted, and it's actually really beautiful saying. It says, in the darkest times, we must be our brightest. We must love our hardest, and I think that's exactly what we need to bring into this whole situation. Is we need to bring in, love and poetry and understanding and togetherness and all that.
Maggie 話：佢好高興，有好多人都好中意佢呢一幅壁畫作品。
People are happy to see that, and the thing about art is, I think when you put your entire heart and soul into something, that shows, that pours over, and people pick up on that. So I think all these artists are out here just pouring into their hearts, dedicating their time, dedicating what they have, their talent, and that's what people pick up on, and that it uplifts people. This one girl came by, she said, "You're making history," and I was like, "Oh, that's so sweet."
溫哥華壁畫節活動總監 Adrian Sinclair 介紹話：今個壁畫項目係喺多個本地組織以及機構嘅支持之下得以成功舉行。而無論係商家定係藝術家，都非常咁積極響應。
We launched this project because we wanted to team up with the local artists in Vancouver that we've worked with for the past 5 years with our festival, and also connect them with opportunities with local businesses in Vancouver, especially in downtown Vancouver, where the COVID virus has made it so that the businesses can't open and their shops are all boarded up. So we worked with the local business improvement associations to help support the artists, to connect them with the buildings and the owners, and also the business improvement associations and Van City Credit Union have both helped sponsor for the fees for the artists and for the supplies. That's been really good, and so we're just doing this with a small staff, and it's not our normal thing we do. So it's been like a big effort, and but very rewarding, and so we're really happy to see it.
Adrian 話：同以往嘅壁畫節活動有所唔同嘅地方，係今個特殊時期，呢啲壁畫作品所傳遞嘅正面訊息，鼓舞住好多嘅民眾，咁亦都令到藝術家們感到前所未有嘅愉快同埋滿足。
People usually are very interested in what's going on, and they want to talk to the mural artists, but now this time it's more like, wow, thank you so much. All the time. People, every time they go by, everyone stops. They say thank you. They say thanks for doing this. So they makes them so happy. And so all the artists are coming to us and saying, it's overwhelming how joyful everyone is about it, because people need something to feel positive about right now, because it's a hard time for a lot of people and it's very complicated for everybody. And so it's a really simple thing to just have that joy from seeing the art and seeing that artists are able to lead the way and to show hope for the future.
佢希望今次嘅項目唔單止能夠撥開陰霾、鼓舞人心，仲能夠向所有嘅人展現出藝術嘅力量同埋價值。
I think that one of the key outcomes I'm hoping to see is that the city of Vancouver and BC and even Canada will see how important art and the arts and culture is, especially a diverse arts and culture. So the mural artists that we have are from all different backgrounds, men and women, people of color, everyone doing their own story. And there isn't one story for everyone, but there is a diverse story that means hopefulness to all types of people. And I hope the outcome is that we value the arts and culture in BC more, because this shows the value of it right now.
喺下一節返嚟，我哋將會同另外2位參與該項目嘅藝術家傾一傾，咁了解佢哋嘅創作經歷同埋感受。歡迎返嚟節目時間。呢啲位於溫哥華商鋪嘅木板上面嘅壁畫，咁為當時疫情下蕭條嘅商業區咧，增添咗唔少嘅色彩。而隨住經濟逐步重啟，商鋪啦亦都陸續重開啦。大部分嘅壁畫就已經被拆除，佢哋嘅去向亦都成為咗好多人關心嘅問題。咁而有參與嘅藝術家能夠加入呢一次嘅項目咧，就感到非常之榮幸。 佢哋亦都期待能夠喺不久嘅將來見到自己嘅作品喺其他地方展出。
I'm gonna call it "You're doing amazing, sweetie," just because it says it in the actual piece.
本地藝術家CL Bo嘅壁畫作品位於 Robson 街一間化妝品店外面，明亮鮮豔嘅顏色非常之吸引人嘅目光。
I was standing here and I obviously like matched the mural right now, but a guy came up and was like, "Can I just take your picture? Because you look really good next to that mural." And I was like, "Sure, I actually painted it." And he was like, "Oh my gosh." So it was kind of funny to like match the artwork.
CL 話呢一幅作品嘅創作靈感嚟自好多流行文化嘅參考。
Just with people talking about like their time in quarantine and sort of just like being at home and being kind of like a mess or like eating too many snacks or like kind of the lighter side of quarantine. And the quote, "You're doing amazing, sweetie," is from Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And so Kris Jenner said that to Kim Kardashian like 10 years ago, but it became like a meme. And so it's sort of just, it's like a nice thing to say, but it's also sort of funny. Like obviously the person's kind of a mess, but it's like, "You're doing good, it's okay, like everything's fine."
喺冇受到創作限制嘅情況之下，CL當時好快就完成咗呢一幅壁畫。佢話俾藝術家能夠完全表達出心中所想係好好嘅事情。
The biggest thing was that the artwork sort of portrays some sort of hope or positivity, just brings some like upliftment to the streets, especially the businesses, because they're boarded up right now. But pretty much they just let the artists come up with what they wanted. You just sort of had to clear your idea ahead of time, but they trusted everybody to do what they wanted, which I think is actually really amazing with all of the artworks, just that everyone was sort of able to really create something that, you know, was meaningful to them or that they really wanted to do. So that was cool.
事實上，呢一幅唔係 CL 喺疫情期間創作嘅第一幅壁畫作品。佢好高興能夠用藝術創作回歸社會。
I guess I just, when everything started shutting down, I wanted to be able to contribute in some way. And when you're like stuck at home, I just didn't really know what to do. So I actually painted one in Gastown first. When that first wave of initial like boarded businesses was being painted, and then from there VMF started doing their project as well, and so I just wanted to kind of continue doing that and just be able to give back in the way that I can. And the one in Gastown is like it's a hand taking a bath, so it's kind of like wash your hands.
佢亦都希望通過呢一幅幽默有趣嘅壁畫，向大眾傳達樂觀嘅精神。
It's just that no matter what our situation is, or like a lot of people are feeling trapped at home right now, but just to like remember that none of us has been through this before, and we're all just doing the best that we can, and whatever you're doing, like you're doing amazing. And I think, yeah, it's also just supposed to be a little bit funny and just a little bit of like uplifting.
而市民對於該作品嘅喜愛，亦都令佢好鼓舞。
The one nice thing about painting murals during this time is that it kind of gives us an excuse to be outside, but with a purpose, which is really awesome, especially when we're meant to be mostly inside during this time. It was interesting just to see everybody's reactions to the different artwork, and a lot of people saying thank you and that they're just really grateful for all of the art that's going up in the neighborhood. So that's really encouraging as well when you're trying to do something for the community and they're responding in such a positive way. I've had a lot of people say that it's their favorite, which is really nice, that like obviously everyone else's is going to be like a favorite to different people, but to be around to hear people actually say that is like very affirming, and it's nice to hear that for sure.
喺 CL 嘅壁畫作品旁邊嘅係本地藝術家 Lucas Lundberg 創作嘅壁畫，貓同狗嘅形象非常之生動吸引人。
We could call it "Stay Home." It's a bit of a different angle on the phrase "stay home" that we hear from the news a lot. Instead of, I try to make it something positive, like having the animals or pets want us to come home and not become sick. With the idea and sketching, maybe it was a 5 days process, but yeah, I spread it over several days. So not like full 8-hour work days. Just came here when I could and worked on it, and then eventually I finished it.
Lucas 嚟自瑞士，從20歲開始藝術創作，並且喺西班牙學習繪畫壁畫。喺加拿大生活已經7年時間。佢希望通過唔同嘅角度向大眾傳遞積極嘅信息，俾每個人都能夠正面咁面對疫情帶嚟嘅影響。
different from painting at home because you have to think about the surroundings and the area, what the message you want to give, like people are going to see it. So that's also something I thought about when I choose to do this specific motive. I didn't want to upset anyone. So it's like it's important to try to fit it in as much as possible, especially during a pandemic. It's more like just to have a. I think the stay-home message is really important that they're saying, but it's a bit not so happy message. Stay home, so I try to make it into like a positive vibe with our pet friends caring about us.
而佢亦都喺溫哥華 Gastown 煤氣鎮完成咗另外2幅作品，向前線嘅醫護人員致敬。
One is about superheroes and to make frontline workers superheroes. So one is portrayed as a Wonder Woman-ish, and the other one is Spider-Man-ish. So it's like a play on that there are superheroes during this time. Well, I really think it's a really nice thing during these times and an opportunity to give a good message. So I reached out to the BAA. I'm very grateful. Like I would be a part of it, and I got to paint, and people are very positive and happy. So it felt like a really important project and very unique because hopefully we'll never go through this again, this pandemic.
咁隨住本省經濟逐步重啟，位於溫市嘅商鋪基本已經重開。呢啲用以封住門面嘅木板被一一拆除。而即使商業街區已經陸續恢復往日嘅熱鬧景象，呢啲壁畫嘅去向就成為咗市民以及藝術家們關心嘅問題。溫市中心商業促進會作為該項目嘅支持機構之一，最初幫助溫哥華壁畫節成功聯絡咗轄區內嘅23間商戶同埋藝術家們共同合作。而促進會行政總裁 Charles Gauthier 就話，佢會保存部分壁畫作品，用以未來展出。
We have plans to do that hopefully before the end of the summer. So people that didn't come down to see them while they were actually up, because we weren't encouraging people to gather, and we are encouraging people to stay home and stay healthy. We will be displaying them in a very prominent place within the downtown area, similar to an art exhibit. Well, we wanted to get the ones that actually captured people's imagination. So one of the murals that was featured prominently was one where healthcare workers were shown as angels, and it was actually at the Colony Bar on Granville Street. So we thought that one would capture the imagination of people, and it would be a reminder, in 2, 5, or 10 years about how much we admire the work of our healthcare workers.
不過目前仲未有最終確定點樣展出。
We've had businesses say to us that, if you're looking for a wall to put them up on a semi-permanent basis, we'd be interested in doing that. And certainly, we thank them for that offer, but we haven't made any firm decisions yet as to what we want to do with them, other than putting them on display on a temporary basis.
Charles 話：其他未有被促進會保存嘅壁畫，亦都將會盡可能用於其他用途。
The rest of the murals, we ensure that they got recycled. So they're being used, for example, for other hoarding in other parts of the downtown. So I know there's one that's actually came off the store at Lululemon at Burrard and Robson, and it's been moved elsewhere, and it's been put up basically to cover up graffiti that's been there. So we'll try to repurpose as many of the murals as we can. And that's the intent. If we can repurpose them for short to mid-term, we'll do that because, again, we're still in COVID-19, and talking about those messages are important.
佢相信藝術嘅力量會繼續為民眾傳遞正面嘅信息，渡過今次嘅疫情難關。好 好啦，今集嘅節目時間呢又差唔多啦。咁如果觀眾對我哋嘅節目有啲乜嘢意見嘅話呢，係好歡迎大家以電郵嘅方式同我哋聯絡㗎。我哋嘅電郵地址係 mag26@fairchildtv.com。如果觀眾想重溫翻今集嘅節目，亦都可以上到去我哋嘅網站3w.fairchildtv.com， 點擊節目重溫一欄就可以睇得翻㗎啦。下星期同樣時間再同大家見面，晚安。